Have you guys watched anything since the last time we recorded? I mean, have you gone to the movies at all?
Have we talked about Godzilla and or Dark Phoenix?
Yes, we talked about both
We
of
did.
those.
Okay.
I didn't know if which John, I know you got small kids. I didn't know if you'd seen Toy Story 4 yet.
They've seen it.
You haven't seen it. Okay.
Kind of pissed, frankly.
Yeah. My daughter went to see it today, and my wife is telling me that we're going to go see it on Saturday, and we're going to take the baby with us. So we'll see how that goes.
I haven't seen. So there's 3 kids movies out, and I have only seen the one that I didn't want to see.
Which one was that?
Secret Life of Pets 2.
My mother-in-law took the little one to see that one in Mississippi, so I'm off the hook on now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, it was fine.
I mean, the first one was enjoyable, but yeah,
it was fine. First one was fine. Second one was fine.
Yeah, it was not torture if you had to watch it with a kid. I mean, basically.
Yeah.
So.
And I think I dozed off a little bit for part of it. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I did watch something, but go ahead.
No, that's fine.
We're not talking about Toy Story. We're talking about The Secret Life of Pets 2. Stop interrupting my podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
Him sounding like he's in charge and shit.
I still want to see. I haven't seen Toy Story. I haven't seen Aladdin, and Spider-Man comes out next week. So.
Yeah.
My to-do list is stacking up.
Spider-Man is coming out, and the drive-in in my town is finally opening back up that week. So we will get to go see it and not have to worry about whether or not the baby needs to be fed or take a nap or whatever, because we'll be in the car and we can do whatever.
Do you just sit there and idle through the whole movie, or?
No, well, I mean, what we usually do is we'll roll the windows down, and if it's humid or if the baby starts crying or whatever, I'll roll the windows up and I'll just crank the car back up and let the air run for a few minutes. But for the most part, you just roll all the windows down, and if it's a decent night, if there's a breeze blowing, you're fine.
Okay, because I know it's barely getting cooler at night now.
Here, anyway. Yeah, and it is supposed to rain every day next week, so I mean that may put a kink in the plans, but we'll see.
Speaking of Spider-Man, PSA, Into the Spider-Verse is now on Netflix. So enjoy, world.
Yeah, we watched it on Amazon last week because my wife hadn't seen it yet. So we got to pay for it again. Now it's on Netflix.
So there's I have a PSA as well because we're in convention season. A lot of people like to put on costumes and go to conventions, and sometimes they make their cosplay costumes, and sometimes they go to Party City and buy a costume, and that's fine. You're just there to have a good time. If you're gonna wear a costume, especially if you are a little overweight, try to look in the mirror and make sure you can't see through your costume before you go walking around the convention, because there was a Spider-Man, and I know he was trying to be the kind of slobby Spider-Man from Spider-Verse. He was wearing a black bow tie, and he had a loaf of bread in his hand.
Cute.
But he walked into the room where we were playing one of our games, and when he walked by, he had nothing on under the costume but a pair of underwear, and I could see the pattern on his underwear when he walked by. And I'm sure that was not intentional.
Were they Spider-Man underoos?
No, they were like striped or something like that. And I was like, dude, you're basically walking around in your underwear all day long at the convention. But
that's better than I thought you were going, because I know I would like to maybe go to cons and go up to leotard based cosplayers and just give them a dance belt and go, here, go put this on, please.
Yeah. You need to make sure everything is Everything is covered that you
Contained.
want to be covered. I mean, sometimes people walk around and they want to be uncovered in certain places, and you do you, but but sometimes you can tell that wasn't intentional. But
Oh, you know what
Now,
else? I watched Jessica Jones season 3.
yeah, I watched the first 9 episodes. I think I haven't finished it yet.
Okay, I was like 9 episodes. You might as well. Like, how
Yeah,
many
I
are
just
there?
had because
It's
I
like
don't
just 13.
I've gotten to a point where I don't binge watch more than like 3 episodes at a time. I end up just kind of doing something else. So if I watch more than 3 at a time, I'm not paying attention to it anymore. So that's like 3 sittings for me, 9 episodes. But it does it okay without spoiling anything. Do they end it in a way where they kind of wrap up all the shows, or do they just wrap up Jessica Jones?
They
Since none
just
of them
wrap.
are coming back.
They just wrap up Jessica Jones. They reference without spoiling, someone from another show does make a cameo, does make a brief appearance, um, but it's not in any kind of final way. So yeah, it does not wrap up all Netflix Marvel shows to me. It wraps up her season. I mean, it's. If you didn't know that it was the last season of all of them, or even of hers, there wouldn't be any particular reason to think that it's the last season. I mean, it certainly concludes. There's an ending, and it's fine, but it's not like it's a series finale ending,
Yeah,
or at least
because
not.
Daredevil kind of ended on a cliffhanger, and now it's not coming back.
Yeah. So
But
did Iron Fist.
Jessica Jones had the the leisure of knowing before the show came out that it was going to be the final season, so they were able to do something at the end, at least, to try and wrap things up. So,
and the important thing about
also,
Iron Fist is that it ended.
yeah, I never even watched season 2. Season 1, I never finished season 1, and I have not watched season 2.
I didn't even know there was a season 2, and boy, do I not care.
Yeah. Um.
So I've seen a couple of things. I forgot. We haven't gone to the movies since Godzilla, but we've watched some stuff on TV. We watched Into the Spider-Verse because my wife hadn't seen it, and I still think while it's amazing, it's still too long. I think if it was about 10, 15 minutes shorter, I'd have liked it a lot more. But John Wick 2, we watched that last week, and loved it as much as the first one.
I still haven't seen the first one, and it's been on my list. It's something that I want to see this movie, and I don't know. It just there's always something comes up, or I forget about it or whatever, and so I haven't seen either of the first two. And I saw the trailer for the third one, and I want to see the third one, but obviously I want to watch the first two first.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'll say this about the John Wick movies. Have you seen either 1 and 2, John?
I've seen 1 and 2, and number 3 is also on my list of movies that I would love to see that haven't seen.
Okay. I was just telling.
I enjoyed them both.
Yeah,
I'm sure
they're
I'll enjoy number
fun.
3.
They are not in any way something that you have to see, but you will not be sorry when you watch them.
It is exactly what you think it's going to be, and
Yeah.
it nails it. Hits that out of the park for kick-ass violent action movie.
Yeah.
And it is slightly smarter than you expect.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of like if Kingsman was a lot more serious. I kind of got a similar vibe from it.
But
the first Kingsman, not the second one, was just silly.
Well, yeah. I think that's kind of baked into the mix of Kingsman too, though. Kingsman is like a serious Kingsman is not Kingsman.
Yeah, that's true. Have you guys seen Good Omens?
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit on the last show, but
that's right, you went on that one.
But
okay.
Yeah, I think I had just finished watching it, and I think John had only seen a couple of episodes last time. But yeah, I loved it. It was great.
I liked it a lot.
Have y'all read the book? Either of you read the book?
Years and years ago. It was a long time ago.
I listened to the audiobook right before I watched the show because I don't think I've ever actually read it. And I think I made a comment that I thought that we did this on a podcast, but I guess maybe it was just on Facebook. I said that actually there are parts of the ending that I like better in the
Yeah, you
show
said that on Facebook. Yeah.
than the actual book. I felt like it was more conclusive. It was the ending was better. You know?
I'll be frank. I've read the book at least 4 or 5 times, and I can't remember how it ended. It's been probably 20 years since the last time I read it.
Exactly. I mean, it basically, no spoilers. It basically ended with, well, who knows what the future holds, but everything's cool today.
Yeah.
Is kind of how it ended. Which it's kind of how it ended here.
The ending was a little weak in both venues, but it still was kind of. I think the journey was more important than the destination anyway, because the world's not going to end, because otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
But the book is far more balanced between all of the characters than the miniseries was. The miniseries was pretty much the Crowley and Aziraphale. Now that I know how to pronounce the name, I'm going to say it right. Aziraphale. I always said it in my head Aziraphale, and then
like I said, I listened to the audiobook, so I kind of cheated on that front.
Yeah. See, I've owned like 7 copies of the book. And then every time I would meet someone who'd never read the book, I'd be like, here, read this.
Yeah.
Then I'd never get it back.
I actually like that they focused more on I felt like the side characters maybe not got too much play in the book, but just shy of too much play. Like in a lot of the cases. Yeah, I think it is a faithful and slightly improved adaptation.
Yeah, I don't disagree. We also watched Solo, the Han Solo movie.
You've seen that before, haven't you?
Yeah, but the kids are at their grandparents, so we're like kind of taking advantage of being able to watch grown-up shows on the big TV. And the other night, as we were sitting down to dinner, or just before dinner, I was like, "All right, honey, I'm giving you an assignment. Pick one of the movies we've got over there that still has the wrapper on it, and we're going to watch it." And she picked Solo, and neither of us had seen it since it was in the cinema. And I still think that movie.
It's been on it.
Well, yeah, but you guys don't. We're old enough to still be into physical media. Thank you very much, or at least I am. And you don't get the extras when you go to Netflix.
That's true.
And that's the stuff I really like about when DVDs came out and all the extras were there. I was in heaven. Back before podcasts, I used to just record onto audio cassette the extras and just listen to them on drives and stuff.
That's a good idea.
But anyway, I still think that movie gets way more flack than it deserves. It does try too hard in a certain, some of the points where they seem to feel they needed to explain every little thing about Han Solo that we knew, which was kind of stupid most of the times. But overall, the movie is fun. And it's not Danny Glover, it's
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. He totally steals this movie, and I could watch him play Lando for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. I mean, it gets a lot of criticism as being an unnecessary movie, and my argument is always all movies are unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
But why does every Star Wars movie have to be critical to the saga? I mean, why can't you just have just a story and you just watch it and you enjoy it while you're watching it, and then you go on with your life? It does not have to be something that you just take to your heart and just keep with you forever.
That feels like a perfect show for the Disney streaming service to just do random anthology series set in the Star Wars universe that don't have anything to do with the Skywalkers.
Yeah. I would love to see another story with those characters and see what happens next.
Solo characters.
Yeah. I love Emilia Clarke, and so anything that gets me more Emilia Clarke is good in my book. And I just, more Donald Glover's Lando is great, and I think the dude that played Han, I can't remember his name, did a fine job.
Yeah, I don't have really any issues with the movie. I mean, it's certainly not a perfect movie,
No.
but it is popcorn fun. The stuff that they did that was dumb. Yeah, it was dumb. But it doesn't, it wasn't so dumb that it tainted the movie.
Yeah, it wasn't Phantom Menace dumb.
No, I didn't need the dumb stuff lasted a few seconds. Like, oh, he's traveling alone. I guess we'll call him Solo.
Yeah.
It could have just been his name. There was no reason for that at all. It was dumb. But
or Chewbacca's too much to say. You're going to need a nickname. Oh, for Christ's sake! Really?
We did the math. I mean, but like just little things like that. I like the Kessel Run thing. I like the Kessel Run thing. I thought it was.
I like the big Lovecraft monster myself.
I like the big Lovecraft monster. I like that that they contorted this whole story just so they could explain a misspoken line or a poorly written line from 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Golf clap. Good job.
Yeah. It's also one of the only times. It's also one of the only times I enjoyed a performance by Woody Harrelson. I really don't like him, and I really enjoyed him in this movie.
I like Woody Harrelson, generally speaking.
I think Woody Harrelson is great. But yeah, and it was a Ron Howard film. I mean, Ron Howard is
essentially.
Yeah, he's a big deal when it comes to directing.
Yeah.
The director of Backdraft and Apollo 13.
Well, and considering the mess he had to step into to fix the movie, I think it's really good.
Yeah. The one other thing that I've been watching, my wife and I started watching Mr. Iglesias on.
Uh-oh. Now he's going to say we froze again.
Yeah.
Well, you froze.
No, that was you.
This is the first time that it wasn't just like, usually it's both of you freezing at the same time, and then it's just me talking.
Yeah, so both of y'all froze.
One of you froze and one of you didn't.
Both of you guys froze a second ago, and I could hear you talking, but your images weren't moving. But okay, what was the last thing I said that you heard?
You're watching.
You started watching Mr. Iglesias.
Yeah, Mr. Iglesias on Netflix. Have either of you watched it at all?
I haven't watched it. I'm always also on sitcoms. It looks like it'll be fine, but I don't know.
I mean, it's a time filler. I mean, if there's just nothing on and you've got a half hour before you go to bed, or whatever, it's something to watch. So we've watched like 3 or 4 episodes of it, and it's family friendly. I mean, this is something you can watch with your family, but it's got great Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias. He's a stand-up comic,
I love his stand-up, which I thought it was, and then I realized it was a show. I was like, oh,
yeah. But it's a pretty simple concept. He plays a history teacher, and he's like the fun history teacher that everybody loves and all that. So, and it's just him dealing with teaching high school students, and there's a lot of stuff between the teachers, showing that the teachers are not a whole lot more grown up than the kids are, but he went to school, him and another teacher in the school, they went to school there. So some of the teachers that are still teaching there used to be his teachers, so it's interesting. It's got Oscar Nunez that used to play on The Office. He plays the vice principal, and he's a prick, and Sherry Shepherd's in it. She's the principal. But
they need to get Gabe Kaplan to do a cameo.
Is he still alive?
I don't know.
I was like, I don't know if that's gonna.
I'm just like, this premise sounds real damn familiar.
Well, it's not the sweat hogs. I mean, it's not the kids that are in trouble or whatever. Some of them are, but there's a trope there where you've got a classroom full of kids, but only 4 of them ever talk, and the rest of them are just background characters. So you've got the 4 students that sit in the front row. They're the ones that have all the lines, and then a room full of kids behind them that just nod every so often.